we always like to have some students talk to you, and I asked Jermaine to speak because he doesn't have an exam tomorrow. He's a senior, and Jermaine spoke recently at school at the Mother-Son Breakfast, which is an event that happens annually in the spring. It's a very good formula. We have an outside speaker, but we usually have about 5 to 6 seniors who speak to the whole audience of mothers and sons. And it's a formula that really can't go wrong because you have older boys talking about their appreciation for their moms. And it is such an important moment for the younger boys to see the older boys being comfortable doing that. Jermaine was the last speaker this year, and it seemed to be going fairly well, not too emotional. He got up and he started crying, talking about how much he appreciates his mother. The entire room, could not contain themselves, I think, in watching him express his care and devotion to his mom. It also helped that Jermaine's a fairly big guy who plays basketball, and that, as I said, that formula is a really great part of the school. And as I said in a note, I could teach 6 months this topic and not communicate what he communicated in a few minutes, to the younger boys especially. So Jermaine will probably tell you what he does at the school and what he's going to do next year. He also is hosting an exchange student from France. Didn't you host somebody from China as well?
Yes, sir, last year.
And he hosted a student from China last year, so he's been a great friend of the school. So join me in welcoming Jermaine Francis.
Mr. Joy trying to make me tear up before giving this speech. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jermaine Francis, as Mr. Joy introduced me. I'm coming into my last days as a student at Montgomery Bell Academy. Definitely bittersweet. Some aspects a little bit more sweet than bitter. But I'll be attending the University of Pennsylvania in the fall. And on campus, as Mr. Joy said, I play basketball. I'm a part of the student council, co-president of the African American Studies Club at NBA, part of the NBA Ambassador Society, Totemoy, MLK Service Society. So I've gotten around a little bit. Starting my MBA, let me give it a second. Somebody important coming through. Okay. So my MBA experience began in the 8th grade. I used to go to West Wilson Middle School in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And I don't know if a lot of people don't realize, but outside of MBA, there's not really a good perception of MBA anywhere in Tennessee. But they just don't know. I didn't know. I'd always heard Mama's Boy Academy, they study football as a class for football. It's football 24/7, can't do anything there. It's extremely strict. And getting beat 49-0 by the 8th grade team didn't really help that when I was about to start my application process. So I came to NBA a little bit apprehensive, but behind the strong influence, the very strong influence of my mother, I made one of the best decisions that I could have ever made for my life. Being a student at NBA is unlike anything else. You learn, you laugh, you struggle, but you change. And that's the biggest aspect of going to school here. And none of that could be possible without people such as yourselves being so generous and making it possible for this institution to be so great for the students that attended. One thing that really my biggest takeaway from going to NBA is just the brotherhood, the acceptance, the togetherness that you feel 24/7. Anything you do what you do, your friend does what he does, and you support each other, and you come together. Everyone comes together to support each other. There's my friend Jess Darnell who goes here. He does I don't know if you guys know, the Zero the Clown Show, and he wasn't expecting too much support from even his own class. But he told us last night at the Leavers dinner to see a group full of seniors in the front row to see a clown show. I've been afraid of clowns for a while, so I wasn't one of those seniors. So my cousin wanted to be funny and show me Stephen King's It when I was a little kid, and that didn't sit too well. But I did see pictures, see videos, try to go as much as I can to support Jess, because it wasn't about me at that moment. It was about my peer and what he was doing and his interests at that time. And so, as I was saying, there's no alienation, there's no chastising, nothing's taboo on campus. You can do what you want, you can find what you want, and you can find what you want to do for the rest of your life while here. Me, I found a love for basketball, found a love for leadership, found a love for Mandarin Chinese, and that's taken me around the world. I've been to places, I've done things that people don't do in a lifetime. I've been to Singapore, been to Beijing, been to the Dominican Republic. I've made international friends. I got a friend from, I don't know where he went, friend from France, right there, friends in China, friends in Australia, friends in New Zealand. And that never would have been possible without Montgomery Bell Academy. I might shed a tear tonight. I'm gonna try to hold it back. But just in closing, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about that most people don't know. One day I was walking from basketball workouts during the fall, and the cheerleading coach came up to me and she just ran up in front of her whole squad. She's like, "Jermaine, how would you like to come do stunts with us at practice and, kind of be a cheerleader for a couple months?" And I was like, Miss Susan's laughing, she knows the story. And being the big basketball player, kind of jock type on campus, I was like, I kind of looked around, saw the girls looking at me. I was like, sure, why not? It's like a great idea. And so I was actually technically, I didn't do any routines, learn anything really, except how to hold a girl up by her feet. But I was technically, I guess you could say, an NBA cheerleader kind of for one season. But out of that story, out of that experience, you see that I wasn't afraid to do it. I didn't feel like I was going to be picked on by my friends. I mean, they made jokes about me, but it was all out of love. It was all out of friendship. Nothing was hostile, nothing was violent, nothing was harsh, nothing was brutal or demeaning or anything like that. And a few of them even did it too. I was like, wow, I guess this isn't that bad. So that's just my kind of spiel about NBA, and I just want to thank you all once again for changing me into the man that I will be, the man I am now, and the man that will hopefully one day change the world in the future. So thank you very much.